the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in the binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No mic, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune and turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. In shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just a beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go.
Well, that's a unique beginning to an interview. The key to successful economic systems has been a balance between economic freedom and rational government intervention. History has shown that unchecked economic power can lead to exploitation, but excessive government intervention can hinder innovation and economic growth. The challenge lies in finding the right balance that maximizes economic efficiency while protecting citizens from potential exploitation. One of the most common misconceptions about the free market is that it leads to selfishness and inequality. Critics often argue that the free market rewards greed and creates a society where the wealthy hold the majority of resources. However, the free market is premised on the idea of voluntary exchange and competition, which in turn fosters innovation, efficiency, and economic opportunity. Yes, some individuals may benefit more than others, but the free market has historically been the best system for promoting widespread prosperity and reducing poverty. My concept of constrained versus unconstrained visions is rooted in a psychological model of how people understand social issues. Those with a constrained vision tend to approach problems with a more realistic and practical mindset, taking into account the constraints and limitations of the world. In contrast, those with an unconstrained vision are driven by ideals and often disregard practical limitations. In modern economic policy debates, this dichotomy is evident in the clash between those advocating for market-driven solutions and those favoring government intervention. The constrained vision emphasizes the importance of incentives and market forces, while the unconstrained vision tends to prioritize ideological goals without considering practical implications. Incentives are a crucial factor in shaping economic outcomes, as they influence decisions and behaviors of individuals and organizations. It is often misunderstood that economic incentives only involve monetary rewards or penalties. In reality, economic incentives can take many forms, such as social recognition, professional advancement, or even potential loss of reputation. When incentives are not aligned with desired outcomes, they can lead to unintended consequences or inefficiencies. Moreover, it is important to note that incentives are not static and can change over time. As the economic environment and societal values evolve, incentives can transform, affecting individual and organizational behavior. Minimum wage laws are a double-edged sword for low-skilled workers. In theory, they aim to protect workers from exploitation and ensure a decent standard of living. However, in reality, minimum wage laws may lead to unintended consequences, such as job loss or reduced hours for some low-skilled workers. Employers may struggle to absorb the increased labor costs, leading to job cuts or cutbacks in worker hours. Moreover, minimum wage laws can create an entry barrier for young, unskilled workers who may find it challenging to acquire valuable job experience and skills. Historical examples of price controls, such as rent control and fuel price caps, provide valuable lessons. Rent control, for example, is often intended to protect tenants from skyrocketing rental prices, but it can lead to landlord disinvestment and deterioration of housing stock, ultimately harming renters. Fuel price caps, meanwhile, can result in shortages and queues, as we have seen in certain instances in history. These examples highlight the complexities of price controls and their unintended consequences. Wealth redistribution, while well-intentioned, often fails to achieve its intended goals. The primary reason is that redistribution tends to create disincentives for productivity and innovation, as individuals are less likely to take risks or work hard if the fruits of their labor will be taken away. Additionally, redistribution can lead to economic inefficiencies as resources are diverted away from their most productive uses. Furthermore, it can create political and social tensions, as those who believe they are losing through redistribution may become resentful or hostile towards those who they believe are winning. Balancing short-term economic stimulus with long-term fiscal responsibility is a complex task for policymakers. In the short term, it can be tempting to pursue policies that provide a quick boost to economic activity, such as increased government spending or tax cuts. However, policymakers must also consider the long-term effects of these measures on the overall fiscal health of the economy. One approach is to implement stimulus measures that both provide immediate economic support and have long-term benefits, such as investing in infrastructure or research and development. Additionally, policymakers should consider the risks of prolonging stimulus measures, as they can lead to inflation or create unsustainable debt levels. Progressive taxation, where the tax rate increases as income increases, can have unintended consequences for economic growth. On one hand, raising taxes on higher incomes serves as a tool for redistributing wealth and can help fund essential services and programs. However, excessively high progressive tax rates can reduce incentives for productivity and innovation. If individuals are faced with the potential of losing a significant portion of their earnings to taxes, they may choose to work less or invest less, leading to lower economic growth. Additionally, businesses may move or outsource to countries with more favorable tax climates, taking jobs and economic activity with them. The claim that monopolies are inherently harmful to consumers is a complex issue. On the one hand, monopolies can lead to higher prices, reduce quality and innovation, and decrease competition in the marketplace. They can stifle competition and reduce consumer choice. However, some argue that monopolies can also lead to cost savings due to economies of scale, and that they can make necessary investments in research and development that smaller companies may not be able to afford. Ultimately, the net impact of monopolies on consumers depends on factors such as the specific industry and the nature of the monopoly itself. A variety of factors contribute to income disparities across different demographic groups. One important factor is education and skill level. Those with advanced degrees and specialized skills may have access to higher paying jobs. Additionally, factors such as race, gender, and geographic location can also play a role. For example, women and minority groups may face barriers in accessing certain jobs or promotions, resulting in lower incomes. The legacy of historical discrimination and unequal opportunities can still be seen in today's income disparities. Unionization has had a significant impact on wages and productivity in modern economies. On one hand, unions can help to improve worker wages and working conditions by bargaining collectively for better wages and benefits. On the other hand, unions can also lead to inefficiencies and higher labor costs, which can reduce productivity and increase prices for consumers. The net impact of unionization on wages and productivity depends on a number of factors, including the strength and scope of the union, the bargaining power of the workers involved, and the broader labor market conditions. The economic case for universal basic income, UBI, is based on the idea that it can provide individuals and families with a guaranteed source of income that can help alleviate poverty and inequality. Proponents argue that UBI can eliminate the need for complex welfare programs, reduce poverty and desperation, and give individuals more autonomy over their lives. The economic case against UBI is primarily based on the idea that it can create disincentives to work and can be costly to implement. Critics say that it may lead to higher taxes, inflation, and budget deficits. Additionally, some argue that it may lead to a decrease in workforce participation and productivity. Educational outcomes vary widely across socioeconomic groups for a variety of reasons. Socioeconomic factors, such as family income and parental education level, often play a significant role in children's academic performance. Low-income students may have fewer resources, such as access to textbooks and technology, which can hinder their ability to succeed in school. In addition, children from disadvantaged backgrounds may face more significant challenges, such as lack of adequate health care and nutrition, which can negatively impact their academic achievement. The expansion of higher education in recent decades has certainly impacted the value of college degrees in the labor market. With more students attending college, many jobs that previously did not require a college degree now do. This has led to a situation where a college degree is often seen as a prerequisite for many entry-level jobs, and a bachelor's degree has become the new standard for many careers. As a result, the value and distinction of a college degree have increased, and those without a college degree may find it more challenging to compete in the labor market. Vocational training should play a significant role in addressing skill shortages in the labor market. Vocational education, which focuses on practical training for specific jobs and trades, can help fill the skills gap in areas where there is high demand for skilled workers, but not enough supply. This can be achieved by providing training programs in areas such as manufacturing, construction, healthcare, and technology, among others. Such training can lead to better paying jobs and increased opportunities for individuals, while at the same time addressing shortages in these sectors and boosting economic growth. The economic return on investment in education can vary significantly depending on the type of education and the field of study. Education in fields such as engineering, computer science, and medicine, which can lead to high-paying jobs, may offer a more significant return on investment than education in fields with lower job prospects. Additionally, education that provides practical, marketable skills is more likely to provide a higher return on investment. However, it is important to note that education is not only about economic return on investment. It also provides cultural and social benefits that are intangible but valuable. To improve the efficiency of public spending on education, a few measures can be taken. One is to ensure that funds are allocated based on outcomes rather than simply on inputs. This would involve identifying specific outcomes that policymakers want to achieve, such as improved test scores or graduation rates, and then measuring the effectiveness of different educational interventions in achieving those outcomes. Another measure is to reduce administrative costs by streamlining school bureaucracy and eliminating unnecessary expenditures. This would free up more funds to be used directly in the classroom where they can have the greatest impact on student success. Economists can use empirical data more effectively to avoid ideological biases by employing rigorous methodologies, avoiding selection bias, and being transparent about their assumptions and limitations. Additionally, economists can engage in peer review and critique to challenge their own assumptions and conclusions. Furthermore, they can strive to include diverse perspectives in their data analysis and interpretation, and remain aware of their own ideological biases and how those may influence their conclusions. Distinguishing correlation from causation in social science research can be challenging, as there are often multiple confounding factors at play. One approach is to employ experimental or quasi-experimental methods that control for as many confounding variables as possible. This includes using randomization or control groups to establish a causal relationship. Additionally, social scientists can use statistical methods such as regression analysis to control for confounding variables and estimate effect sizes. Another approach is to use multiple methods, such as observational data or surveys, to provide converging evidence for a purported causal relationship. Statistical literacy is crucial in public policy debates, as it allows policymakers and citizens alike to make informed decisions based on evidence rather than ideology or emotions. Statistical literacy involves understanding how to interpret and analyze data, recognize biases and flaws in data collection and analysis, and communicate findings clearly and accurately. A population with strong statistical literacy can better evaluate the credibility of claims made by politicians, interest groups, and other stakeholders, and hold policymakers accountable for their decisions. Additionally, statistical literacy can help policymakers identify potential policy impacts, costs, and benefits, and prioritize policies that have the best chance of success. Over-relying on aggregate data when analyzing economic trends can be dangerous, as it may result in an oversimplification of the issue. While aggregate data provides an overall view of the economy, it does not capture the nuances and disparities that exist within the data. For example, an aggregate data analysis may show a decline in unemployment, but it does not tell us which industries and demographic groups are most affected. Additionally, aggregate data may hide important changes that are occurring at the regional or individual level. Therefore, it is important to use both aggregate and disaggregate data to gain a deeper understanding of economic trends. In economics and other social sciences, conflicting evidence can arise in economic studies due to methodological differences, data limitations, and other factors. To handle conflicting evidence, researchers may use a variety of methods to validate findings and resolve disagreements. This can include replicating studies using different data or methodologies, examining the robustness of findings to a range of assumptions, and engaging in meta-analysis, which combines data from multiple studies to produce a more comprehensive understanding of the evidence. Additionally, transparently reporting the limitations and assumptions of the study can help to mitigate the effects of conflicting evidence. Some of the most significant methodological flaws in modern economic studies include inadequate sample selection, insufficient data or data validity, omitted variable bias, statistical errors, and overgeneralization. Other methodological problems include inadequate control of confounding variables, insufficient consideration of measurement errors, and the use of inappropriate statistical methods. Additionally, there is often a lack of transparency and replication in economic studies, which makes it difficult to assess the validity of the findings and assess the robustness of the results. The persistence of racial and ethnic disparities in economic outcomes is often attributed to historical factors such as discrimination, segregation, and unequal access to opportunities. These factors have contributed to the accumulation of wealth, inequality, and segregation over generations, creating a cycle that perpetuates these disparities. Structural inequality, such as the lack of quality education and healthcare, can also contribute to these persistent disparities. The lack of economic mobility due to systemic barriers can also contribute to these racial and ethnic disparities. Zoning laws and housing policies can have a significant impact on economic mobility and inequality. For example, zoning laws that restrict multi-unit and affordable housing in certain areas can drive up housing costs and make it difficult for low-income and marginalized individuals to access housing in areas with good schools, job opportunities, and other amenities. This can perpetuate intergenerational poverty and limit economic mobility. Zoning laws that prevent the development of a diverse range of housing types, from low rent to high end, can also contribute to income and racial segregation. Personal responsibility can play a significant role in addressing economic inequality. While systemic factors and historical disadvantages can contribute to inequality, personal responsibility in areas such as education, career choices, and financial management can help individuals improve their economic situation and break the cycle of poverty. This includes seeking out opportunities for education and professional development, making responsible financial decisions such as saving money and avoiding unnecessary debt, and avoiding high-risk behaviors such as substance abuse and criminal activity. The economic implications of mass incarceration on affected communities can be significant and far-reaching. High levels of incarceration can disrupt family structures, leading to increased levels of poverty, particularly among women and children who are left as the primary caregivers. The absence of a breadwinner can also result in reduced income for the family. In addition, individuals who have been incarcerated may struggle to find employment, further exacerbating poverty and inequality. This can lead to increased crime and social instability, perpetuating a cycle that disproportionately affects low-income minority communities. Policymakers should take a nuanced approach to balance the trade-offs between equality of opportunity and equality of outcome. This can involve implementing policies that ensure equal access to essential resources and opportunities, such as education and healthcare, while also providing targeted assistance and support to disadvantaged groups. Policymakers should also consider the long-term effects of their policies and avoid creating a dependency culture. This can involve investing in early childhood development programs and providing incentives for responsible behavior and decision-making. Ultimately, the goal should be to create a society where everyone has an equal chance to succeed, while also recognizing the need for targeted intervention to address historical inequalities. Some historical policies that have been relatively effective in promoting economic mobility for disadvantaged groups include: 1. The Great Society programs, initiated during the Johnson administration, which aimed to target poverty, health, education, and other social issues. 2. The New Deal policies implemented during FDR's administration, which provided employment and income support to millions of Americans. 3. Community Reinvestment Act, passed during the Carter administration, which aimed to combat discriminatory lending practices and increase access to credit. 4. GI Bill, which provided education and job training for veterans returning from WW2. The questions seem to cover a wide range of topics related to economic issues, including inequality, education, public policy, and economic history. The questions appear well-researched and thoughtfully written. It seems like a good starting point for a discussion on economic issues.
Mics on the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark, unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No mic, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's Faceless words you can touch and feel. Hidden in shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just the beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go. Pure and raw. Pure and raw. Turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Pure and raw.
Play.